Hi everyone. We're just a couple minutes after the start time of this webinar, so I think a few more people might trickle in, but we'll go ahead and begin. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to join us for the November School Garden webinar. We're going to be talking about fundraising for school gardens today. And we're very lucky to be joined by two guest presenters, Cindy Scott, who is co-owner of Terroir Seeds, one of the partners of Slow Food USA's National School Garden Program. They're based in Prescott, Arizona, but do seeds for the entire country. And Judiann Carmack-Fayyaz, who is the former co-chair of Slow Food East End and is currently the governor of Slow Food for New York State. So we're very excited to have them both here. Um, just a few housekeeping things. After this, I'm going to go ahead and mute all of the participants just to reduce background noise and give our presenters the chance to speak. If you're logging on from a computer, you should be able to make a comment or ask a question using the chat function. And then I put the link to our website if you want to check out further resources. In addition, we are recording this webinar and we'll make it available on our website. So we typically like to go around and just hear who's on the call. So if you want to just introduce yourself by name and what either Slow Food Chapter or school location you're from, we just love to hear who's here. So I'm going to go ahead and call out people by time zone, and I will unmute people, and then after this, I'll go ahead and remute everyone. So let's see. Who do we have here from the East Coast?
Scott Lewis here from...
Oh, sorry, I hear Scott Lewis is here from Slow Food Coast in Florida. Thanks for joining, Scott.
Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, it sounds like you just introduced me, so thank you.
Who else is here from the East Coast?
I think the place where you was is not yours?
This is Sue and Batsheva from Hazone. We're in Michigan.
Hi, Sue. Anyone else from the East Coast? Okay, how about the Midwest or the Central Time Zone?
Hi, I'm Charlotte. I'm from Texas.
Hi, Charlotte. Thanks for joining us from Texas. Anyone else from the Central Time Zone? Okay, how about Mountain Time? Anyone besides us based in Denver?
This is Marianne with the Utah State Office of Education.
Hi, Marianne. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, this is John Asadorian. I'm also in Prescott, Arizona.
Hi, John. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Lauren.
How about the West Coast?
Hi, my name is Carrie. I'm currently living in Fullerton, California. Newly moved from Denver, Colorado. So hi, all you guys. I did a little bit of work with Slow Foods in Denver and looking to be more active in school gardening here in California.
Wonderful. Carrie, where in California are you now?
North Orange County in Fullerton.
Awesome. We'll have to introduce you. If you want to send me an email after this, I can introduce you to Slow Food in Orange County.
That would be great.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourselves. I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute, and we'll go ahead and get started with the rest of the webinar. Okay, Cindy, let's see. I'm going to make sure you are not muted, but you should, let's see. Can you see your slide? Oh, Cindy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, wonderful.
Okay, perfect. So hi, my name is Cindy Scott. I'm with Terroir Seeds. We're based here in Chino Valley, Arizona.
We personally, my husband and I, have been Slow Food members for over a decade, so we're very excited to be working with Slow Food USA. And this is a seed fundraising program we put together. We focus on heirloom and open pollinated seeds. Those seeds are seeds that you can save from year to year if you so choose so. One of the reasons we started this program is we had a lot of people asking us about how they could support their schools or different clubs and do it in a healthy, sustainable manner. And that's kind of where we came up with a fundraiser program. And so I'm going to just go through a little bit of the details about it. And at the end, if you have questions or anything like that, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. So do I move the slide or do you, Lauren?
I can move it for you. Do you want me to go next?
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. So one of the things we heard a lot from parents was they got tired of buying, and I don't have kids in school anymore, so, but we heard cookie dough and gift wrap and all sorts of interesting things that are out there in the fundraising world for students these days. And then when I thought about cookie dough, I'm like, that's really not a sustainable, healthy thing that Slow Food would want to promote. And so seeds is a, an alternative. It gets kids interested in gardening. The people that the kids try and sell these seeds to also might not even be a gardener or aware of heirloom. They might have heard about GMOs, and so there's some educational opportunities there as well. And one of the great things this program does, it complements the school garden program. So if you have parents and community already involved with the school garden on the school campus, this is a really nice offshoot for them to do. And what we provide, we have on our website a PDF of the color brochure, and we're also able to send schools and groups the brochure, and we'll have a link to that on a slide further on. But we have 5 different seed collections. We make it really easy for the kids to sell these seed packets. And our fundraiser, each sale returns 50%. So it's a pretty good benefit, and we cover the shipping of the order to the school to be distributed. If you can move to the next slide. So part of, we did a little bit of a pilot program and worked with a few schools to see what the interests were. And one of the things we realized, just because you're selling seeds doesn't mean that the person buying it knows anything about gardening. And so we wanted to make it very inspiring to those people to get interested, because a lot of times they're buying whatever the child is selling. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. Is that background noise on your end, or is that coming from someone else?
It's coming from somewhere else.
Okay. I'm going to try muting everyone again. Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
It sounds like a dog barking to me. But
Cindy, can you hear me?
hear me? Okay, it says I'm unmuted now.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and mute people individually.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, everyone. If you're able to mute yourselves in addition, that might be helpful. If anyone's calling in from a phone, I can't mute people on the phone. So if you could please mute yourself, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Cindy.
Okay, so we have our different collections that will appeal to the non-gardener as well, because usually someone is a relative and their grandkid asks, to support their program by, supporting their fundraiser. They might not be a gardener, so we wanted to make it really easy for folks and simple. So all the varieties that we've included in the collections are easy to grow, varieties that grow in a lot of different climates. And then also our sunflower house and our butterfly and pollinators are made up of flower seeds. So that's very simple. If you don't have a green thumb at all, you can spread out those flower seeds and be pretty successful. And then we made some fun ones like the pizza patch, which inspires kids to grow the ingredients to make a pizza. So, and then some other ones, so the heirloom garden collection is some older varieties that kind of gets folks introduced to what an heirloom is. And then fresh salad is very easy to grow. If even somebody doesn't have a space, they just have patio space, everything to make a salad. So what we've done for these collections is we've already discounted the price. Each collection has 4 packets of seeds, which retails anywhere from about $3.05 to $3.50. So we've already discounted it to $10, but that the customer that's purchasing it is getting a good deal. So for every $10 collection sold, the school receives $5 on that. And then in the back of our brochure, we've answered a lot of questions teachers and parents had related to what is heirloom, milk and pollinated, are your seeds GMO. We've given a lot of guidelines to help you along with your sales. And then the thing about this is you can do these seed sales any time of the year because most folks think about seed in spring, and a lot of the fundraisers we've done have been in the spring, and they've been most successful in the spring because it's on top of people's minds. But depending on your location, like we just completed 2 schools in the Phoenix area, which is a different growing season, and so growing is on top of people's minds right now. So the seeds will keep if you store them in a cool, dry place. But it's a great thing to be thinking about right now for the spring. And I lost my train of thought. So if you're interested, on the next slide we have the contact information as far as how to get more information about the brochure. And you'll see on our website, when you look for the school fundraising program, we just ask for you to give us a fundraising timeline of like when you're going to start, how long you're going to sell the seeds for, and then number of orders and when you would like those seeds back. If you do the program in the spring, we ask for at least a week turnaround time so that we can get them processed for you. And we put each of the kits in a nice little bag with a colorful little flyer thanking the person for buying the seed and supporting your school. And then it's all pre-assembled for you. So when you get it, you just sort it by the order sheet that you've already tallied. So it's real simple as far as distribution goes. And I can't think of anything else. I can definitely answer questions later on if you have more exact questions. But one thing I'll also let you know is last spring we had a lot of parents actually calling us asking questions because they were helping support the kids in the project. And we're more than happy to take questions from parents and help them along with helping the sale.
Thank you so much, Cindy. That was great. I just didn't catch how much of each packet or what portion goes back to the school for the fundraising.
It's 50%, so $5 of every $10 sale.
That seems really great. Thank you. So we'll probably just have, save Q&A and participation for the end. So we will go ahead and, let's see, Judiann, I'm going to unmute you here, and then we can have you get started. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like a great program, so I know I'm going to definitely try it out. But hi, my name is Judiann, and I'm a teacher at Bridgehampton School on Long Island, and I've been involved with Slow Food for quite some time now. and principally through the school garden program. We started building a garden here at our school in 2008. And at that point in time, we didn't want to ask the school for any kind of money whatsoever because we weren't sure how the taxpayers would receive that or how receptive they would be to funding that kind of programming. Of course, that's all changed now, but we were really forced to look hard to find money and resources. And so today I just want to really touch on a couple of fundraising opportunities that you can tap. And that would include using local resources, using crowdfunding platforms, and holding events. So I'm going to start with using local resources because quite often people think you need money, but what you really need are supplies, ideas, labor, materials, and a lot of that is located right in your neighborhood. So I really strongly encourage anyone hoping to start or develop further a school garden to create partnerships with local garden centers, hardware stores, lumber companies, local restaurants. We were able to do that, and we've received a lot of seeds, a lot of plants, irrigation supplies. Just like tapping into parent networks and businesses is really a great way of getting what you might need to start out a garden. And what we did is we started our garden and we were contacted by the local newspaper. So that's another thing you could do is contact your local newspaper to bring them into your garden and to show the community what you're doing. As a result of doing that and saying what we had hoped to achieve, we received a $5,000 donation from a local businessman to go towards building a greenhouse. So don't underestimate those local resources and the power of the press in getting out the word of what you want to do. From there, that generated a lot of buzz, and we started talking to other organizations. There was a school business partnership organization on Long Island, and they helped connect us to the local power company. And the power company had a grant available, and we were able to get $10,000 from them as long as we connected to their power source or their energy source. So between those two grants and donations, and then another donation from our local Slow Food Chapter, we were able to build a 1,000 square foot greenhouse at the school. So this is without using any outside fundraising tactics or events. So the other thing I just also want to mention, besides the partnerships and community organizations, is to really look for grants. There are so many school garden grants out there right now that it's easy to get $500 here, $1,000 there. You just really need to look. Slow Food has offered grants. Whole Foods has the Whole Kids Foundation school grants. Kidsgardening.org has a grant that's due tomorrow. So if you look at Slow Food's website, they usually mention the grants that are available out there. So again, local resources are so important. Another terrific way of raising funds is through using crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter or Gofundme. There are quite a few. I've used both of those for two very different projects. And so I just wanted to spend a little time talking about each one. Kickstarter is a company where you have to create a project, or you have to fund a project. You're not just having money come to you without a firm idea and project. So we used Kickstarter a couple of years back to publish a book on nutrition and healthy eating that revolved around the school gardens. And that book was going to be, or has been distributed to local schools and families just to raise awareness about good, clean, fair food and how to prepare it, and just to demystify cooking and food in general. So in order to print 10,000 copies of this book, we started a Kickstarter campaign, which requires you to do a short video and write some text. And we raised $15,000. And this allowed us to actually publish our book. The thing with Kickstarter is, first of all, it has to be a project. You have to set a certain amount of money you need to actually reach the goal that you set. So for us, we thought we needed $20,000, but we felt like we could probably find $5,000 in donations. And so we set it at $15,000. And if you don't raise the $15,000, you don't get any money whatsoever, and nobody gets charged. So you really need to set a realistic goal because you only have either 30 or 60 days to raise that money. And if you do use the Kickstarter campaign, you know, it's a great way of rallying your community around your project. So if it's to build a greenhouse, if it's to start raised beds, it could be any amount. You could try and raise $500, or you could try and raise $1,000. The amount doesn't really matter. It's, you know, whether or not you can achieve that goal, given your community. And then what you need to do for them is to give something in return. So it could be, you know, maybe you collect your seeds, you do seed saving, you return seeds to people. Maybe you give them a brick or something in the garden, or you create a little sign. But as part of the Kickstarter platform, you do need to give something back to the donor. So that's Kickstarter. It's a great crowdsourcing platform, and you can go to kickstarter.com for more information. The other type of platform is one where you can set a goal like $10,000, but if you only get $2,000 in pledges, you still get that money, and you're not penalized for not reaching your goal. So we did that for Gofundme, and that one does not have an end. So you could keep that open for 3 months, 4 months, however long you want. But the shorter you keep these things open, the more effective you are. So those are just two ways of raising money by using your social media contacts and your community contacts. The last thing that I'd like to talk about are events, because people always enjoy events. It's a great way of showing off your garden and bringing people to you. So not only are you getting donations, but you might get volunteers as well. And volunteers are a great resource. And I know from experience that a lot of gardens in our network are basically run by 1 or 2 people with some help from others periodically. And really, you know, you want to get as many people involved as possible, so events are a great way of doing that. On the East End, we have, as part of Slow Food East End, we've had an annual cocktail party / dinner, which has raised anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 for us. Now, it's a lot of money, and it's not that we've actually charged a lot of money for people to come. It's that we've created a climate where, well, a lot of our local restaurants and farmers and food producers and beverage producers are willing to donate to the dinner. So we offer restaurant tastings. I think we had about, it's grown now over 5 years, we had 15 restaurants that were donating little tastings, and they would set up a table, and we would charge an admission of $75. And we have some local wineries here, so they would donate a case or two of wine, and we'd get people from the wineries to pour, or our local chapter members would do that. That event raises money for us. All of the money goes to the school garden program, and we have raised $15,000 for stipends for master farmers, we call them, which are the people who help the school garden program. We have 3 individuals who travel from school to school, you know, helping with technical advice about where to plant things, how to set up a garden, how to harvest sweet potatoes, how to set up a hydroponic system. I mean, everybody has a different forte, but we pay each of these, what we call master farmers, $5,000 over the course of the year to give technical advice. And that money comes from this big cocktail party. With this money, we've also been able to give out garden grants to local gardens. We've held curriculum writing workshops, and we created a program, Chefs to Schools, where local chefs or people with cooking or culinary experience get a little stipend to go into schools and teach children about nutrition or how to prepare certain dishes, and just get them in touch with, you know, what food is. So cocktail party dinners with a silent auction. Hopefully, a lot of the local restaurants will give a gift certificate that we can auction off. You know, it could be anything from the local businesses. So that's, I'd be happy to answer questions later on about that event. But another big one that a lot of our school gardens use, which has been phenomenal, is an event called Empty Bowls. And that is a soup fundraiser. There, I guess, restaurants and individuals donate 5 gallons of soup. And I guess a couple of schools have done it, and they get about maybe 15 to 20 people donating the soup, and then they charge an admission fee of about $15. And you either can bring your own bowl, or in some instances, the school-age children will do or make bowls in art class, and then these are sold, you know, it's another way of making money to sell the bowls that then get the soup poured into them. This fundraiser has made anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 for our schools that have participated or have used this fundraiser. There's a couple more. One school has a really cute fundraiser, and it's called Dance for Plants. What they do is they have their elementary school-age children, could be older ones as well, but they get sponsors, parents or friends and family, to sponsor them for a 1-hour dance-a-thon. And that has actually been, it's not only really cute, but they're all dancing for plants, and it raises quite a bit of money. So that's been an effective one, and it's an hour or so, and it's not hard to set up, so that's a good one. Other schools have also used farmers markets on the school premises as a way of raising funds. So they will grow lettuce or sell their produce. Some others have bottled salad dressing. That's been a big fundraiser here. There are some issues with that, but they've had a salad dressing contest, and the winning salad dressing gets bottled, and then that gets sold at school events or at the school farmers market. So there's one other event that we have had a lot of success with, and that's just plant sales in general. And that could be from selling the seedlings in spring, particularly vegetable seedlings. But also, since we do have a greenhouse, we've been able to propagate cacti and succulents and put them in inexpensive clay pots. And those have sold for, $10 to $15 each when we're lucky. But if they take a while to grow, but it's a very inexpensive way of it's a very educational experience as well as a profitable one. We also have had a lot of success with rosemary cuttings and propagating rosemary. So there are so many ideas for raising funds, and you just should use your creativity, come up with an idea. The kids love to participate. But again, look at your resources and use your garden for these events. We, at our school, we now hold our back to school barbecue and our end of school barbecue in the garden. And we have gotten so many volunteers, and the volunteers bring with them connections. Somebody knows somebody who would donate irrigation equipment. Somebody else knows a carpenter who might donate wood, and that's how these gardens are built. It really doesn't take much money. It really takes a lot of effort and connections and infrastructure. So that's what I have to say today.
Thank you so much, Judiann. That was really, really informative, and we appreciate your insight. I have a few things to follow up on that you mentioned that reminded me of things we can help with from the Slow Food USA national side. Regarding crowdfunding, Gofundme and Kickstarter are definitely two great platforms. Slow Food USA has also partnered with Fundraiser, which is another crowdfunding source. And we actually have a slow food page on their website. And if a school garden or slow food related campaign comes about, we can actually promote that for you on our social media channels. So hopefully that will increase donations. Regarding Judiann was talking about youth farmers markets, we have some pretty extensive resources on the Slow Food USA School Garden website, which has more information about the logistics of running a farmers market and some of the educational philosophy behind that. We actually have a youth farmers market manual we've published, so you can find that on our site. Another thing is through our national partnership with Chipotle, we have fundraisers available to schools to raise money for their gardens. It's a really easy process. We will connect you with your local marketing person. You communicate with a restaurant, a Chipotle restaurant near your home, and pick a day of the week, schedule a 4-hour time block, and then you can advertise that on social media or through emails, and Chipotle provides you with a promotional flyer. And anyone who comes into the Chipotle for that night during that during that 4-hour time block, saying they're there to support your school, 50% of the proceeds raised will go back to your school garden program. So we have found that a successful Chipotle fundraiser, if well advertised, could raise up to $1,000 in one night. And lastly, Judiann was mentioning that we have some resources on our website, which I'm just going to bring up right now, and I can just show you how to find that on our site. I think you guys should be able to see my screen right now. Let's see. So if you go to our homepage under resources, and then starting and maintaining your school garden. We actually have two different pages. One that's more about fundraising, so you can see some of the things Judiann talked about, the Empty Bowls fundraiser, the Kickstarter campaign, some tips from the Whole Kids Foundation. So that's on the fundraising page, and then also we have a grant page also under starting and maintaining your garden, and this is where we've had one of our interns do a really thorough review of different school garden grants available online. And then you can see more details such as the application and when those are due, if the application cycle is now open or closed, things like that, as well as some sample grants that have been written and been successful, and then some examples of local grants that Slow Food chapters are awarding in different parts of the country. So those were just a few things. If you're interested in the Chipotle fundraiser, we have an order form, so you can feel free to email me after this webinar, and I'll get you all set up with that. I think now is probably a good time to move to question and answer. I just want to thank both of our presenters again. It was really useful to hear their perspectives on raising funds for school gardens. We actually have one question already from Bill, who's asking, what is the name of the Slow Food fundraiser site? And that is Barn Raiser. And I'll go ahead and type that into the chat function so you can see that. Okay, so if people, if you want to type your questions into the chat function, that's probably the easiest thing to do. And then we can go ahead and address those questions to the presenters. If there aren't any really specific, let's see. Scott is asking, Cindy, have you received any resistance from unhealthy food providers like the Girl Scouts?
No. Hi, Scott. No, that we haven't had anything like that thus far. We've had, I forgot to mention, and I'll mention this, we've had anywhere from a class do it to a grade level to extracurricular clubs to, we had a local school here do it to raise funds for their school garden. So people have been very creative as far as, their approach to the funds. But no, we haven't had any resistance thus far.
Cindy, I actually have a couple questions related to the Terroir Seed fundraiser. In the past, what have schools been able to raise? Maybe a couple examples of that, and then if it's typically elementary school students or really across the board.
It's actually been across the board as far as the age groups. We've had quite a few elementary level, but we just had like a high school chess club do the program. So it's a broad range. We even had a college participate. So the most successful ones were probably the elementary school, and I think we've raised so far from the schools that have participated, it's been anywhere, they've raised anywhere from, I'd say, 600 to, I think the largest one did it was about $1,500. So it varies, and I think it depends on the parents and teachers involved as well.
Great, thank you. Looks like we have a question from Zeno for Judiann. How is the money generally handled within the school?
That's a great question. We actually formed a school foundation, a 501c3, while we were trying to raise a significant amount of money for the greenhouse. So we created a foundation that was closely linked to the school, so it has a broader mission, but we were able to then solicit donations that were tax deductible for the donors. But that's, there's quite a bit of work in creating a 501c3, but it's not necessary. You could have the funds earmarked for certain school projects, and you can ask your school business administrator to create an account where that money can go. We also have a school club fund. So we have an edible school garden club, and people, that money can come and be, donated to that club. So there's a couple of different ways you can move the money. The foundation is a great way if you're really looking to get some tax deductible donations.
Oh, it looks
And
like.
then I see there's a.
Oh, sorry. Andy wanted to say something just to answer that question as well. I think he's just unmuting himself.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, looks like I'm live now. Okay, looks like I'm live now. Very good. So this is Andy. My experience in Slow Food Denver has been that another successful mechanism to house funding or funds for school gardens is through the PTA. The PTA, PTO, whatever type of parent organization you may have at your school is also a nonprofit. In most cases, they can house separate accounts, and one of those accounts can be for the school garden. In the past, I've had my own checking book through the PTA that was just dedicated to the funds that we raise for the school garden. Our experience out here in Denver has been that if we use the structure within the school, either through the principal's account or through the front office, there's a lot more paperwork and delays associated with putting money in and getting money out. So we have found that the PTA is a good source for that. In some very rare circumstances, if a school doesn't have a PTA and there really is no avenue, the Slow Food Denver has served as a fiscal sponsor for school gardens in the past. And it's up to the local chapter if they want to charge a fee for that. We traditionally did not, just to be a service to the schools, but we really only use that as a last-ditch effort because that's asking the Slow Food chapter to do a lot. So check in with your PTA, PTO as the first opportunity.
Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks, Andy, for that piece of advice. There, it looks like there's a question from Sunday asking, do you have community partners that support the school gardens locally? So, Judiann, maybe you can answer that. I know we talked about that a little bit. And then if anyone else has some creative community partners that you'd like to share with the group, feel free to put those into the chat function as well, and then I can read those out to everyone.
Yes, I think it's really, really important to have community partners. And we have quite a few. We have a foundation that was started when a young man died in a tragic accident. And so we now raise funds. That's, our cocktail party was created around that unfortunate event, but that foundation now fully supports school gardens, and all that money that's raised, it goes, to school gardens. We also have a partnership with a land trust, a land preservation organization.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
There is another. Oh no, that's okay. There's like a bigger organization called the Long Island Community Organization, which raises funds for charities. So you really just need to look around and be a little creative. There are so many people who want to support schools and who want to help children, and there are some unlikely people that you wouldn't think about, like the local garden club, the Rose Club, the library. All of these people are very interested in helping because it gets their message out as well. In fact, today our local library said that they wanted to sponsor a raised bed in our garden, and I suggested, why don't they, put out in their newsletter that we could arrange a field trip to the school garden. So those are the ways that you can, create unusual partnerships that will only help you get your word out and get more people into your garden.
And Judiann, I think you touched on this a bit with the Master Farmer program, but looking to local producers, farmers, restaurants, and chefs to partner with your school garden, those are good options as well.
They've been great. Mm-hmm.
It looks like we have a question from Zeno, who's asking, what are good practices to show your results to donors?
That's a great, what are good practices? I think getting people out there. We have monthly meetings at our various school gardens. And for instance, we have a hydroponic table. And hydroponics is relatively new and people are very curious. So we're actually in the beginning stages. We haven't perfected this. We're learning ourselves. But we had a meeting where we showed the garden to people, and people were really excited about the hydroponic system. And now we have some representatives from the local university who are coming to help us. So good practices is really trying to get as many people involved and into the garden. So it's not just the kids, it's not just their parents, but you really need to make those connections with businesses and schools and your local cooperative, your Cornell cooperative, or whatever farming cooperative you have. Look beyond the the front door kind of thing, because there's so much out there and so many people willing to help. So good practice is getting as many people involved as you can in creative ways.
We have also, oh, thanks, Judiann. We have also found that photos and stories are really good anecdotal and sort of qualitative ways to show results to donors. Of course, best practices also including some quantitative. So if you can keep track of the number of students that participate in the school garden program or other numbers related things, I think donors really appreciate seeing that as well.
Or the number of pounds of produce that comes out of the garden over the course of a year, how many times it gets into the school cafeteria, or how it's used. And I think you're right, like social media is so big. Everybody should have like a Facebook page for their garden and post regularly. Those pictures are priceless.
And it looks like John has a, Sunday, I'll come back to your question about curriculum. John has a follow-up question. Judiann, do you have a website to share information about current events and other important information, or is it on Facebook only?
There is, besides the Slow Food USA website and Slow Food East End website, we have another one, edibleschoolgardens.org, and that has a lot of our local information on it, and it's currently being worked on to include some more information on fundraising and things like that, and curriculum resources. But Slow Food East End is a good one because one of their major missions is to support school gardens. slowfoodeastend.org. Yeah.
Great, thank you. We had another question from Sunday asking if Slow Food USA has a curriculum resource for school gardens. And yes, we do. I will take you all to that page really quickly on our website just to show you where it is. So if you go to our homepage, our website is gardens.slowfoodusa.org. And then under the resources tab, go down to in the classroom and then curriculum. And this is where our good, clean, and fair school garden curriculum lives. You can buy a hard copy here. It'll be sent to you bound as a nice book, or you can download all of the PDFs for free by clicking on these images. And so we have a couple different chapters in this first good volume about sensory education and kitchen skills and tools. And we're currently working on the clean volume of our school garden curriculum, which should hopefully be out by the end of this year, and then fair we will start working on next year. And then we also have a few other curriculum resources on that page as well. So hopefully that is helpful for people. We're nearing.
Lauren, could I also throw in there the Slow Food USA School Garden Guide, which has so much information?
Yeah, do you want to tell people about that? And I'll pull that up as well.
Okay, great. A couple, I guess it was about 2 years ago, Andrew Nowak spearheaded a program to get a guide that would be available to slow food chapters so that they could help school gardens develop, start, and it's a fabulous, fabulous resource guide that's available free, I think, on the website as well as also in hard copy.
Yes, and hopefully you can all see my screen here where I'm showing the page. To get to this, you go to Resources, Starting and Maintaining Your Garden, and then Slow Food USA School Garden Guide. And that has 9 different chapters about everything from fundraising for your garden to how to manage volunteers, marketing, things like that. So that is another great resource from Slow Food USA. Thank you, Judiann, for reminding me about that. So as we are nearing the end of the webinar, I think it'd be a great time. I'll go ahead and unmute people. And if you have an interesting or unique fundraising idea you'd like to share with the group, we would love to hear from you. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute everyone. And just feel free to jump in. Oh, okay, I'm going to mute that person.
I do have one more. If nobody else does.
Go ahead.
I saw it on your website, but bricks. We created a pathway and we sold the bricks, so a family could sponsor a brick, and we were asking $100 for a brick, and you can ask a lot less, but that generated a lot of money, and it's forever. So every time you walk through the walkway, you can see your brick, and you can add those over time quite easily. So that's a great fundraiser.
Thanks, Judiann. Does anyone else have any fundraising ideas you'd like to share with the group?
This is Bill. Last year we were able to simply request from our local garden club support, and they provided just under $1,000 worth of support with minimal effort.
Oh, great, Bill. Was that support through financial donations or in-kind donations?
Yeah, it was a check. Yeah, they basically paid for fruit trees and potting tables, and yeah, and it was a very simple process. They're interested in supporting local gardens, backyard gardens, and also school gardens. So we were fortunate.
That's wonderful. Does anyone else have something you'd like to share? If not, I'll show you one more page on our website that might further inspire you a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, hello?
Hello. I'm sorry. My name is Robin. I'm with Oregon State University. And,
hi, Robin.
Hi. So another source is 4-H, and you've got 4-H, pretty much everywhere. But we've been able to get money from state 4-H foundations working with school gardens, and so it's essentially adding the youth development piece, which really helps all aspects of it. So I'd encourage you to look to your local 4-H folks also.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you, Robin. That actually segues really nicely into the last thing I wanted to share, which was just the partner page on our site. So we have tried to keep track of who we're partnering with nationally, from Chipotle to the American Heart Association and the Edible Schoolyard Project, as well as local partners. And you can just go to this page and really click on anything and see what different slow food chapters, who they've worked with, whether it's their Office of Education or the Master Gardeners. This list of local and national partners might help inspire you to make similar partnerships in your own community. And there's one more question here from Bill asking Judiann, quick question on the bricks. Where did you get the engraving done for donor names?
I could get that information, and maybe Lauren, you could disseminate it, but I think I actually saw that you had the brick order form on the website. That's what reminded me about it. I'm just wondering if the answer is right here. Brick order form? Probably not, but what I could get that. But we, this is what we did. You could write down, I'm just seeing if it's here.
I pulled it up as well.
All right. I will find out for you, but there was a company that did the engraving, and it wasn't not inexpensive. I think it cost like $15 per brick, but they were beautiful, and I'm not sure if you could get it done less, but I'll get the information, and it's a great way of raising money.
And I don't know if another alternative, could you paint the bricks instead of engraving them? Or I'm not sure the longevity in the elements for that one, but maybe another option. And Bill, if you want to send me an email after this, I'm happy to connect you directly with Judiann. It looks like maybe there's one more question here from Robin. Oh, nope, okay. Well, someone is barking. I think that's probably time to wrap things up. Thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to us. All of our contact information for Cindy, Judiann, Andy, and myself are up on the screen. And hopefully we'll see some of you next month for the December School Garden webinar. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.